Ladies and gentlemen, you're on to my Media Prime, and this is Prime News. My name is Genda Pelgrin Blanche King. Thanks for choosing my Media Prime. We'll begin the news this evening with the sad incidents recorded yesterday in Boya, southwest region of the country. Reports say 3 chiefs were abducted yesterday by unidentified gunmen. Chief Ekomingale of Mile 14 was later discovered dead. Reports confirmed there are 2 other chiefs who were abducted yesterday have been released. Investigations have been opened to track down the perpetrators of the act. Details in the following report with Kumar Norimbom.
Sunday the 13th of December could be described as a Black Sunday by many, as 3 chiefs from the Boyacott area were abducted by unidentified gunmen. Reports have it that the chiefs were invited by Chief Ewuli of Mile 15 Lower Bokova village for an inaugural ceremony of his new palace. Chief Kombe Simon of Mile 16 Lower Bolifamba and Chief Ekombengale of Mile 14 Dibanda village were the first chiefs to have arrived at the celebration ground, given that they are the closest neighbors to Mile 15 Lower Bokova village. Upon their arrival, they were immediately intercepted by unidentified gunmen who ferried them, including the host, to an unknown destination. Eyewitnesses have it that the abductors took the chiefs to the forest and later called the chairman of the Lower Bokova Village Traditional Council to come and collect the corpse of their chief. By press time, a manhunt has been launched by the law enforcement officers to track down the abductors, especially as it is alleged that the other 2 chiefs who were abducted alongside Chief Ekomengale have been killed. The death of Chief Ekomengale is said to be the 3rd chief from Fako Division and the Boya Chiefs Conference in particular to have died since the onset of the socio-political crisis ravaging the 2 English-speaking regions of Cameroon. It is worth mentioning that the separatist fighters had earlier given a death promise to anybody who dares to vote or stand in as a candidate for the December seat polls of the Regional House of Representatives.
Former MRC National Secretary for Human Rights Celestine Kamer has resigned from the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. He made the declaration earlier today during a press conference. Lasha Kingsley was present. He compared the following. We'll get back to that report compiled by Lasha Kingsley. Meantime, members of Christian Men Fellowship from Fako North Presbytery had their 39th annual rally over the weekend with calls for them to draw even closer to God at a time when the country is suffering or battling with a socio-political and health crisis. The rally, which took place at PC Muliko Boya, was presided over by the Reverend Ezekiel Foncham, the Presbyterian Secretary, in the presence of moderator Right Reverend Fonke Samuel Foba. Details with Crise Ekowe.
Despite the double full crisis rocking the rest of Southwest and Northwest regions, these are members of the Christian Men Fellowship Cmer from the Fako North Presbytery who have gathered to celebrate their 39th annual rally at PC Moliko Boya.
Before this rally, there was a lot of doubt if it's going to go, because of the fact that the issues pertaining to the socio-political crisis notwithstanding, the COVID threats issue came up, and the gathering of persons were restricted. We are today here.
During this rally presided at by Reverend Ezekiel Foncham, parish pastor of PC Boya Town, and who also doubled as Presbyterian Secretary, in a sermon titled God is a Refuge, drawn from the book of Psalms 46 verse 1 to 14, he urged Christians to trust in God amidst the difficulties brought about by the ongoing Anglophone crisis and recently the COVID-19 pandemic.
In times like this, when we have all kinds of adversities, psychological, physical, we need to trust God for our rescue. God is the one who guarantees our safety and our security. This is the theme, and for us to do that, for the men to do that, they must keep watch to know what God is asking of us, and the knowing is out of Scripture.
Also attended by Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, moderator of the PCC, accompanied by the senior clerk of the Presbyterian Church, Reverend Mickey Hans Abia, among other pastors. The moderator encouraged CMF members to start engaging in sustainable projects within their different groups while empowering their wives and daughters. This is all in a bid to combat the financial challenges brought about by the crisis, he noted. On his part, Reverend Mekumba Francis, who represented the National Secretary of the CMF, revealed that the CMF will be celebrating its Ruby Jubilee come February. In this light, all Presbytery CMF groups were called upon to engage into serious preparations so as to make that day memorable. He also warned that no CMF member should be found misusing their uniforms, as this was a call from the Secretary of the National Men's Work. This rally that brought together over 32 CMF groups drawn from the 40 congregation from the Fako North Presbytery also featured different activities such as exhibitions, singing competition, among others.
Over 24,000 members of the 45 groups of Christian Men Fellowship of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon equally gathered at Peace in Tamulong, Bamenda to celebrate the 39th annual rally of the movement as the year end coupled with the crisis in the country. The Christians were equally called upon to be promoters of peace, love, and unity in the country. Details with Charles Kibwa from the northwest region of the country.
Over 24,000 members of 45 groups of the Christian Men Fellowship of the Mezam Presbytery Sunday, December 13th, converged at the Presbyterian Church in Tamulong, Bamenda, seat of the Mezam Presbytery, to celebrate the 39th annual rally of the movement under the theme, God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble, reading from Proverbs 18 verses 10 to 11, John 14 verses 16 and 17, and Romans 46 verses 1. Reverend Fosu Bernard enjoined Christians to hold firm to Christ in good and in bad times, while reminded all of the hope and salvation found in Christ.
And despite all the odds and all what we are doing, the tribulations and hardship led by this socio-political, we stand firm and face the cross and ask only Jesus Christ, who is our strength and refuge. We tell our Christians, stand firm. Despite all things, we know Jesus Christ is the only who can provide us solutions to the issues we are facing.
As the year ends, coupled with the political and health crisis rocking the region and the nation, the Christians were called upon to promote peace and to look up to God in times of trouble.
Objective of all the religious denominations to actually put our country in general, our region in particular, and in our city, in prayers, so that God himself will continue to intervene so that we can have the peace.
The event that was crowd pulling brought members of the CWF, CYF, pastors and other groups of the presbytery to support the men.
Within now, and as we await the coming of Christ, he is the one who gave us life. And as we await his coming, we're going to take it low. We're going to walk with our heads open, and then also be able to extend our love to others who don't have, to go into the transformation of faith.
The 39th annual rally saw men compete in exhibition, liturgical singing, Bible quiz, amongst others, as they look forward for 2021 to celebrate their 40th anniversary.
Family members of kids attacked at the Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy in Kumba on the 24th of October 2020 have received support from the Kumba Community Organization in Toronto, Canada, and the Bafo Cultural and Development Association. Tamfu Sidwan Dimbia reports.
Families of victims of the October 24 school attack in Kumba have again benefited the benevolence of the Bafo Cultural and Development Association in the United States of America and the Kumba Community Organization in Toronto, Canada. This was on Saturday, 11 December 2020 at the Mfon's Palace in Kumba. The chief of Kumba and paramount ruler of the Bafos, Mfon Mokete the Fourth Ekoko, says it is a kind gesture of the Bafo sons and daughters abroad.
We received the 19 families who were affected by the October 24th massacre here in Kumba. As you know, 7 children were lost or were retired. So the families were here today at the palace again to receive financial support that came from abroad. And the injured children, the other 12 families also, of those, the 8 families were here today. The other 3 families were in hospital, one in Mutengene and 2 in Boya.
He has a good mastery of the situation with the families, reason why most of the groups reach out to the families through the Kumbanfon's palace, which has maintained a close relationship with them ever since the incident occurred.
The palace feels that each time these donations are given, we also add a donation on top of the donation that comes to encourage it.
During the event, the Bafo Cultural and Development Association, United States of America, strongly condemned the recent attack.
The massacre of young innocent children on October 24, 2020 at the Mother Francis School, Fiango, Kumba, is an act that Bafkuda USA strongly condemns.
They also said the Bafo people are hospitable, but will not want such an act to repeat itself.
Bafo people are very welcoming and kind to everyone living in Kumba and see acts like this to be very chilling, especially when it involves the death of young children. Bafkuda USA applauds the paramount ruler of the Bafo for his swift action to make it known that evil acts are not welcome on Kumba soil.
To the families, they thank the donors and pray their sources are replenished.
I'm feeling the pain, the cry of the bereaved and those who are also wounded, to sympathize with them in the little form in which they can do. We are very happy.
As the Kumbanfon's palace continue to share the pains with victims of the school attack, there are also hopes that the land will be cleansed, as the paramount ruler has resorted into a more spiritual battle to ensure that the land is free from evil activities.
Some politicians, journalists, entrepreneurs and other stakeholders have been recognized by the non-government organization United Africa for Economic Empowerment, UNAFI. This was during the end of activities to mark the very first edition of a 3-day Pan-African Conference and Cultural Festival, PANAFEST, which took place at the Deka Hotel here in Douala. Details in the following report with Dolly Gonde.
It is the end of the year and, of course, the perfect timing to celebrate acts of excellence. Besides the aim of rejuvenating the Black identity and culture, the maiden edition of the Pan-African Conference and Cultural Festival, PANAFEST, has ended with the edification of some outstanding personalities. The 3-day conference, which focused mainly on enabling the Black man attain financial freedom through a boost in entrepreneurial skills and the shift from Western imperialism, has left many fulfilled, as this member of the organizing committee talks on how.
This whole conference was about economic empowerment. And economic empowerment is not theory, it's practical. You make wealth by doing something, not talk about wealth. So Africans are encouraged to engage in agriculture.
In celebrating Black culture and dynamism, the display of a wide range of African culture took central stage as participants, dominantly dressed in their African fabrics, danced to the rhythms. And like they say, example is the best teacher. It couldn't have been a successful cultural festival without the projection of some outstanding acts of Black excellence, from the faces seen daily to the policy makers and then the entrepreneurs, but not limited to the artistic bench. These are some of the winners of this year's edition of the PANAFEST award-giving ceremony.
To let you know that the profession is vibrating and well at different levels. Political, cultural. This, we can tell you that the future is very bright.
The award-giving ceremony, which honored a handful of distinguished personnel from diverse backgrounds, also projected My Media Prime Television as the arguably fast-rising Anglo-Saxon television channel, as most of its journalists grabbed the trophies of the day.
72-year-old ex-convict in Douala has ended the lives of his nieces, angered by the fact that his sister did not adhere to his proposal of selling via inherited property. He burned down the building, killing his 3 nieces and himself. Details with Nora Kakebi.
The population of New Bell, a neighborhood in the economic capital Douala, woke up to a very sad incident over the weekend where 5 people lost their lives in a fire incident. An ex-convict, Bakar Roger, according to an eyewitness account, got into a heated argument with his younger sister, with whom they share the same apartment with her 3 kids inherited from their parents. In the course of the argument, Roger, the ex-convict, made serious threats to throw out his sister together with her 3 children and promised to burn down the house, which he eventually did. Reports confirmed that the 72-year-old man, who shared the same house with his younger sister, is said to have inherited the house from their parents. Roger had persuaded his younger sister that the house be sold so that they make some money, but the sister refused to give in to his proposal, which got him furious, and he decided to set the house on fire, leaving his sister's 3 children dead. The children, aged 2 years, 1 year and 3 months old, died in the hospital due to the severe burns. Their uncle, Bakar Roger, who set the house ablaze, also died in the fire together with another victim who tried to save the lives of the children. The said victim sustained a 3rd-degree burn and was rushed to the Lakentini hospital, but unfortunately died later. Roger's younger sister has been left in shock and disbelief, given the emptiness in her life presently.
Life is gradually returning to Furawa, Menjam Division, northwest region of the country, after over 4 years of fear and insecurity due to the socio-political crisis. Military commander of the 6th Military Region, General Kamer, visited the area recently to reassure the population on their safety. Details in the following report with Eileen Sama.
The authorities of Furawa have assured inhabitants of the area that calm and serenity has returned and they can now come home, although some are still frightened by threats from separatist fighters. The mayor of Furawa, Danjuma Fidelis, who also escaped the violence and insecurity before the current heavy presence of the military, says calm has returned after seeking refuge in Nigeria.
Most of them have come back. In fact, as of January last year, when the military came, the village was deserted. Even myself, I was not in Furawa here. I also escaped even before the military came, because when the boys were here, they were hunting for some of us. So we ran for our dear lives. We were still in Nigeria. So when the military came now, we saw that it was time for us to come back home, to gather our population back home. That's why you see this multitude here.
According to the divisional officer of Furawa, 1C Patrice, the battle with the separatist fighters was very destructive, as his office and the entire administrative block was completely shattered and still in the same state.
This is my temporary office because Amba boys destroy everybody building here, administrative to be building.
The commander of the 6th Military Region in the Northwest Region, General Kamer, over the weekend paid a visit to Furawa and was warmly received by Mayor Danjuma Fidelis and 1C Patrice, the DO for Furawa. The military commander assured the people of Furawa that over a year now, calm has returned to the locality, as many who took refuge in Katsina State in neighboring Nigeria have all returned home, as the Cameroonian army now has a base in the heart of the locality.
Former MRC National Secretary Celestine Jammeh has resigned from the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. He made this declaration earlier today during a press conference. Lasha Kinsley has more.
Celestine Jammeh has resigned from the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. He made the declarations today in a press conference in Douala.
C'est pour vous annoncer aujourd'hui que je quitte le mouvement pour la renaissance du Cameroun. En termes juridiques, ça s'appelle une démission. Vous savez que jusqu'à présent, j'étais secrétaire national aux droits de l'homme et à la gouvernance du MRC.
The former MRC National Secretary for Human Rights decried, amongst other things, the tribalistic nature of how politics is done in the MRC party.
On ne peut pas, dans la politique, comme j'entends souvent, prôner le fédéralisme communautaire. Ça veut dire quoi le mot communautaire? Dans la République, il n'y a qu'une communauté, la communauté nationale.
While qualifying Maurice Kamto as a political amateur, Jammeh also blames the MRC for boycotting the 2020 municipal and legislative elections in Cameroon.
Le MRC à la dernière minute, je répète, à la dernière minute, voire même à la dernière seconde, décide de manière unilatérale de ne pas aller aux élections. Tout le monde était perdu. D'autant plus, et là je vous parle en tant que membre du directoire, M. Biya, si j'ai bonne mémoire, convoque le corps électoral, je crois, le 10 novembre 2019. Les partis ont 15 jours pour investir et pour concocter des listes aux élections. Eh bien, entre le 10 novembre et le 25, date de clôture, le président national du MRC laisse couler 12 jours. 12 jours. Pourquoi? On ne sait pas. Nous sommes convoqués en tant que membres du directoire le 22 novembre. On a perdu 12 jours. Il nous reste donc 4 jours pour investir 10 régions. Mission, à l'évidence, herculienne. Herculienne. Mais on l'a fait, en tout cas pour la majorité des régions. J'y étais. Et je peux vous dire qu'il y a eu des inconvénients terribles. Notamment sur nos camarades femmes qui, pour certaines, excusez-moi d'être un peu trivial et peut-être, on va dire, un peu vulgaire sur ce côté-là, il y a des camarades qui, pour certaines, ont perdu leurs règles parce qu'elles ne dormaient pas. En 4 jours, investir 10 régions, on ne dort pas. Moi, si j'avais dormi 10 minutes sur 4 jours, j'aurais pu collapser, j'aurais pu avoir un malaise, Dieu merci, je ne l'ai pas eu. Dormir une demi-heure sur 4 jours, avouez que quand même, c'est pas donné à tout le monde, et en tout cas, c'est pas chose facile. Cela dit, jusqu'au dimanche 24 novembre 2019, puisque la clôture de liste était prévue le lendemain, le 25. Moi, c'est le Saint-Germain, membre du directoire et membre de la commission d'investiture.
Thanks, and Ewane Eli Nolinga for producing the news. The news was coordinated by Lasha Kinsley. We have come to the end of today's edition. Join us tomorrow at 6:30, God willing, for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. My name is Genda Pelgian Blanche King. We're encouraging you to stay tuned to My Media Prime. Coming up next is a Prime Hour with Leonard. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.